Mathletes, welcome back to Math Space. In this video, you will be learning about the laws of exponents, which will greatly help you in simplifying expressions with powers. So let's take a look at these laws. Number one, we have product of powers. So it says here, if you multiply terms with the same base, which is a, you will simply just add the exponent. So for example, we have x raised to 5 times x raised to 2. Again, the same base, they are both x. So copy the variable and add the exponent. So this will give you x raised to 7. Okay? Next, we have quotient of powers. Number 2. So this means dividing. If you divide terms with the same base, you will simply just subtract the exponent. So for example, x raised to 5 over x raised to 2. So you will simply just subtract. So x raised to 5 minus 2, which will then give you x raised to 3. Let's move forward to the next example. Next law. So we have power of a power. So this means a base or a variable raised to an exponent and then raised again to another power. So what you're going to do is to multiply the exponent. So I don't want you to be confused with power of a power with product of powers. So let's take a look at this. So we have x raised to 5 and then raised to 2. Can you see the difference of the first example with this one? So the first example is a variable with exponent times the same variable with exponent. But in this case, we have a variable raised to an exponent and then raised again to another exponent. So what we're going to do is to simply just multiply the exponent. So 5 times 2, which gives us x raised to 10. Okay? Next, we have power of a product. So it says here, if you have a product, or let's say two variables being multiplied, and both of them, or the product is raised to n, that is the same if you distribute the exponent to both variables. For example, we have xy raised to 4. That will be the same as x raised to 4 times y raised to 4. Next, we have power of a quotient. So this means you dividing two variables, which is raised to an exponent, is the same as raising both to the exponent and then dividing it. So we have, let's say, x raised to x over y raised to 5. That is the same as saying x raised to 5 over y raised to 5. Next, zero exponent. So zero exponent states that any number or any variable raised to 0 is equal to 1. Well, let me just explain that for a bit. Well, we have x raised to 5 minus 5. This is the same as x raised to 0, right? So if you remember this back, it falls under this. So that is, it can be written in quotient of powers. It can be written as x raised to 5 all over x raised to 5, right? And since if you divide x raised to 5 by x raised to 5, that's same as dividing a number by itself, the result is always 1, which boils down to x raised to 0, giving us a value of 1. So again, any term, any variable with an exponent of 0 is equivalent to 1. Next, we have negative exponent. Any variable raised to a negative exponent is equal to 1 all over that variable raised to the positive equivalent of that negative exponent. So for example, we have 6, or let's say x raised to negative 4. That will be the same as saying 1 over x raised to 4. Okay? So how about, let's say you might ask, how about 6x raised to negative 4? What's going to happen? So 6 is not included in the negative 4 exponent, so I will just leave it up here, and then I will just bring down x raised to 4. Okay? So last example, we have exponent of 1. So exponent of 1, any number raised to 1 is equivalent to the number itself. Let's say, for instance, x raised to 1, that is always equal as x. 5 raised to 1, that is always equal to 5. Okay, so those are the laws of exponents. I hope you will master everything, and this will greatly help you when simplifying expressions with powers. Once again, thank you for listening. This is Teacher B, and see you in my next video.